Ernest Hemingway and I have a great deal in common. Um, One of the things we don't have in common is our ability to write well, but there are some similarities between Hemingway and me. One of the obvious similarities is that um, we, we write about things that interest us and about things that we not only interest us and we write about them, but those things absorb our lives and make it more than just simply writing a nice little story about something. Right? And the things that Hemingway wrote about were things not just a nice story, but something that caught his heart or his gut, and he had to get it out. In many, many ways, most of the stuff that I write has that similar background. Probably one of the For Whom the Bells Toll and The Old Man of the Sea are probably the two most famous, at least the ones I enjoyed the most. But The Old Man of the Sea is kind of a semi-biographical story of Ernest Hemingway. And all that it is clothed in the form of an old man by the name of Santiago, who was a fisherman in Cuba. And Santiago wanted to catch the largest marlin that ever swam around Cuba or whatever. And he spent about 3 months not catching anything. And finally he catches this huge fish, and it was a marlin. And he ties it to his boat after several days of literally wrestling with this fish to capture it. Ties it to his boat and drags the marlin into the harbor. And it's in a way, it's kind of a sad story about Santiago. In many ways, it's also kind of a sad story about Hemingway. Hemingway was living in Cuba at the time of World War II, and FDR made an announcement about that FDR wanted Americans that lived along the coast, especially the eastern coast and the Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico, to keep an eye out for German U-boats. Hemingway hears that, and all of a sudden that becomes his drive, his capturing a marlin that was a German U-boat. And so this is a story about how Hemingway is driven to be productive and sink a German submarine. And this is it's a true story. He went in his fishing boat with a box of hand grenades and a Thompson submachine gun with the hope of capturing or sinking a German U-boat. It's a true story. So I hope you enjoy the story. And it is a story about Hemingway and me, but it's also a story about Hemingway and you. So, think about your quests in life. And then you think through that process and that will be it'll be helpful to you in your life and the challenges that lie before you. In the meantime, thanks for listening to and watching this video and reading this article. In the meantime, you take care.